Did you know that the key to navigating life's toughest challenges isn't in controlling everything around you, but in learning to flow with life's natural rhythms? If you want to experience true peace and emotional resilience, you need to stop fighting against life's unpredictable nature. Instead, embrace the Stoic approach to living in harmony with what's beyond your control. The best advice I've ever heard is that you don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to learn how to respond with wisdom when life throws a curveball. It's not about avoiding hardship, it's about growing through it. Avoid this mistake, thinking that life's struggles are obstacles to your happiness. The Stoics understood something crucial. The path to a meaningful life isn't paved with perfect outcomes, but with acceptance, resilience, and the courage to adapt. Stay with me as we dive into the Stoic philosophy of living according to nature and discover how it can transform the way you handle life's challenges. No one. Embracing Stoicism, finding happiness beyond external validation. Imagine for a moment waking up in the morning with a sense of calm, knowing that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else, that the number of likes on your latest post, the messages from a friend, or the attention from someone you care about don't determine how you feel about yourself today. Feels liberating, doesn't it? This isn't some utopian dream, it's the very core of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to find happiness within, rather than relying on the approval or affection of others. But in today's world, it's so easy to forget this truth. We're constantly bombarded with messages that our worth is tied to what others think of us. We check our phones for messages, obsess over social media likes, and feel the weight of every missed call. It's almost as if we've conditioned ourselves to define our happiness through the reactions and opinions of others. And at first this might feel natural. After all, we're social creatures, and being liked or appreciated feels good, right? But here's the catch. As much as it seems like external validation can bring us happiness, it's fleeting. The moment the likes stop coming or the texts dry up, we feel that familiar dip in our mood. The joy we felt just moments ago starts to fade, and we find ourselves reaching for the next source of validation. Sound familiar? Whether you're in your 20s or 60s, it's a cycle many of us are caught in. We think, if only I could get a little more attention, everything will be okay. But the truth is, we can never control how others will perceive us, and that's where Stoicism comes in. Stoicism teaches us that true happiness comes from within. It encourages us to turn our attention inward, to focus on things that we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. Think about it. If your happiness isn't dependent on the approval of others, then nothing can take that peace from you. It's a mindset shift that says, I am enough as I am, regardless of how others see me. This philosophy may sound like a hard pill to swallow, especially if you've grown up in a world where success and worth are often measured by external achievements or praise. But the beauty of Stoicism lies in its simplicity and its timeless relevance. It doesn't ask you to stop caring about people or relationships. It asks you to stop depending on them to feel good about yourself. It challenges you to find joy and satisfaction in the present moment, in the person you are, and in the life you're creating, not based on someone else's approval, but on your own values and beliefs. Number 2. The Stoic path, cultivating emotional independence in relationships. Think about the last time you were in a relationship, whether it was a romantic partnership, a close friendship, or even a family connection. Did you ever feel like your happiness was tied to that relationship? Maybe you were constantly checking if they were happy with you, if they were giving you enough attention, or if they were feeling the same way you were. It's natural to care deeply about the people we love, but when we place the responsibility of our emotional well-being in their hands, it creates a dangerous dependency. As children, we may have learned that love means needing each other to fill emotional gaps. But as we grow older, especially in adulthood, we carry these patterns into every relationship we form. We rely on others to make us feel whole, to validate us, and to affirm that we are worthy of love. The question is, what happens when those people, for whatever reason, aren't able to meet our emotional needs? Or worse, what if they can't show up for us the way we expect them to? If your sense of self-worth depends on others, this can feel like a personal attack. You might even begin to feel like you're not enough, or that you've failed in some way. Now imagine for a moment, what if you didn't need anyone to validate your worth? What if you could step into every relationship not out of neediness, but out of genuine connection, fully knowing that you are complete in yourself? That's the essence of emotional independence, a central teaching in Stoic philosophy. By cultivating emotional independence, we learn to maintain our sense of peace and well-being, regardless of the actions or attitudes of those around us. This doesn't mean you stop caring for others, or that you become emotionally detached. On the contrary, Stoicism teaches us to care deeply, but to do so from a place of strength and inner stability. When you don't rely on someone else for your happiness, you approach relationships from a space of freedom. Freedom to love without fear, freedom to give without expecting, and freedom to be yourself without feeling like you have to fit into someone else's mold. The Stoic path encourages us to cultivate virtues like wisdom, courage, and moderation in all aspects of life. By focusing on developing ourselves, we become more emotionally resilient and capable of creating relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, not on dependency. When we shift our focus from needing others to choosing them, we empower ourselves to form healthier, more balanced connections. But here's the thing, emotional independence isn't just a catchphrase, it's a practice. It requires self-awareness, a willingness to grow, and an openness to confront the uncomfortable truths about why we seek validation from others in the first place. And for many, that's the hard part. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that the more we rely on others, the more loved we will be. But Stoicism shows us the path to emotional freedom, where the love we receive doesn't define who we are. It's simply an added bonus to the life we've already built on our own terms. No. 3. How Stoicism can transform your approach to love and connection. We all want to be loved, right? It's a basic human desire. But have you ever wondered how your approach to love has been shaped by external factors? From movies to social media, the portrayal of love is often presented as a grand, all-consuming force. The idea that love should complete us, that we should be found and saved, is embedded in our collective consciousness. But what if that's not the healthiest way to view love? Let's take a moment to reflect. How many times have you found yourself waiting for someone else to fill the gaps in your emotional life? Maybe you've put your happiness on hold, waiting for someone to come through with a romantic gesture or a grand declaration of affection. It's easy to get caught up in the notion that love means being constantly wanted and desired. But when we start defining love based on how much we're needed or how much attention we're receiving, we risk losing ourselves in the process. Now think about how different that could be if we approached love through the lens of Stoicism. Imagine entering a relationship not from a place of desperation or need, but from a place of abundance, where you're already whole, already happy, and already complete in who you are. Stoicism teaches us that love isn't something that should define us or make us dependent on another person for our emotional well-being. Instead, love should be an expression of who we are, an extension of our inner peace and self-respect. In fact, Stoicism teaches us that the key to transforming our approach to love lies in recognizing that love isn't about ownership or validation. It's about respect, mutual growth, and understanding. When we view love as something that enriches our lives rather than something that defines our happiness, we free ourselves from the chains of expectation and dependency. We stop seeking love to fill an emotional void and start offering it as a gift, something we can give, not because we need to be needed, but because we choose to share it with another person. But here's the interesting part. When we let go of the idea that love must come from someone else to be meaningful, we paradoxically make ourselves more attractive. People are drawn to those who are secure in who they are, not those who are constantly looking for approval or affection. When you stop trying to control how others perceive you, you naturally become more magnetic. This is the transformative power of Stoicism. It allows you to love without fear of rejection and connect with others without the pressure of needing them to complete you. And this is where the real magic happens. When both people in a relationship embrace this kind of emotional freedom and self-sufficiency, the connection becomes stronger and deeper. There's no fear of losing each other because neither person depends on the other for their happiness. Instead, they come together to share in the joy of mutual respect, shared values, and meaningful connection. But what does this really look like in practice? How do we cultivate this kind of emotional self-sufficiency in our relationships? It starts with small shifts, shifting our focus from validation to self-growth, shifting our approach to love from dependency to mutual respect, and ultimately learning to love ourselves fully so we can love others authentically. And this journey, though challenging, is one that will forever transform how we experience love and connection in every part of our lives. Number 4. Building emotional resilience, the Stoic secret to peace and fulfillment. Have you ever been through a tough time, maybe a breakup, a job loss, or a personal setback, that left you feeling overwhelmed and unsure of how to pick yourself up again? It's the kind of feeling that can knock the wind out of you, leaving you questioning your strength, your purpose, and the meaning of it all. We all go through moments like these, regardless of our age or background. And in those times, it can feel like everything is out of our control, that life is happening to us, and we're just trying to survive. But what if I told you that there's a way to not just survive those tough moments, but to actually find peace and fulfillment in the midst of them? What if you could build a kind of emotional resilience that not only helps you navigate life's inevitable challenges, but allows you to thrive through them? The secret to this lies in Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to approach life with inner strength, calmness, and wisdom. Emotional resilience doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending that hardship doesn't affect you. It means understanding that you have control over how you respond to situations, no matter how difficult they may be. Think about it. Life is unpredictable. We can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we choose to react. And that's the essence of emotional resilience. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's within our control, our thoughts, our reactions, and our choices. Everything outside of that is beyond our power, and that's okay. When we accept this truth, we stop fighting against things we cannot change. Instead of getting lost in anger, frustration, or despair, we develop the ability to pause, reflect, and choose a better response. The Stoic idea of amor fati, loving one's fate, invites us to embrace whatever comes our way, not as something to resist, but as an opportunity for growth. This shift in mindset doesn't mean we stop feeling or caring. It means we stop allowing negative emotions to control us. It's a powerful way to turn adversity into an opportunity for personal growth. Building emotional resilience isn't easy. It's a practice. Some days you may find yourself frustrated or disappointed, but over time, the Stoic principles of patience, reflection, and self-mastery become second nature. And when you learn to cultivate resilience, you not only improve your own emotional well-being, but you also become a source of strength for others around you. You begin to see that every challenge, every setback, is not a reflection of your worth or a sign of failure. It's simply part of the human experience, and through this acceptance, you gain peace. No 5. Why seeking external validation hurts your emotional well-being? How many times have you found yourself desperately checking your phone for validation? Whether it's a compliment on a new outfit, a like on a photo, or a text from a friend, that little rush of approval feels so good. It's a natural human instinct to seek approval. It makes us feel seen, valued, and connected. But what happens when that validation doesn't come, or worse, when it's inconsistent? It's like being on an emotional roller coaster, constantly trying to chase the next hit of external affirmation. And let's face it, this is something many of us can relate to, no matter our age. We've all been there, waiting for someone's words or actions to lift our spirits, to make us feel good about ourselves. It can feel like our emotional well-being is tied to someone else's opinion of us, and when we don't get the validation we crave, we feel deflated, insecure, and anxious. The problem is, external validation is unreliable. People change, circumstances shift, and the praise we once received can quickly fade. So, if we place our happiness in the hands of others, we end up on a never-ending search for approval, always hoping that the next person or situation will make us feel whole. This constant need for validation creates an emotional dependency that undermines our sense of self-worth. We begin to define ourselves not by who we truly are, but by how others perceive us. It's a dangerous cycle that feeds insecurity and anxiety. But here's the truth. When we rely on external validation for our emotional well-being, we give up our power. We let others dictate how we feel about ourselves, and that's a recipe for emotional instability. We lose touch with our true essence, the person we are, regardless of someone else's opinion. That's where Stoicism comes in. Stoic philosophy teaches us to look within ourselves for validation, not outwardly. It's about shifting our focus from pleasing others to living authentically according to our own values. Stoicism encourages us to develop self-awareness and to become comfortable in our own skin. When we stop seeking validation from others, we no longer let external circumstances dictate our happiness. We build a foundation of self-respect and inner peace that remains unshaken, regardless of what happens around us. Imagine how liberating it would feel to stop seeking approval from others and to instead trust in your own worth. The more you practice this, the less you'll rely on outside praise, and the more you'll find your own internal validation. This isn't about rejecting love or feedback from others, but about no longer allowing those things to define your sense of self. When you cultivate this mindset, you reclaim your power and your emotional well-being, making you more resilient, grounded, and fulfilled. No 6. The power of self-improvement, becoming more attractive without trying. Picture this. You walk into a room and people notice you. They're not drawn to you because you're dressed in the latest fashion or because you're trying to impress them. They notice you because there's something about your presence, your confidence, your energy, your calmness that makes you magnetic. It's the kind of attraction that goes beyond the superficial. It's a quiet power that draws people in without you having to say a word. Have you ever wondered how this happens? What is it that makes someone attractive, not just physically, but in the way they carry themselves and the way they make others feel? It's not about trying to be someone else or fitting into a mold. It's about being the best version of yourself, and that's exactly what Stoic philosophy encourages us to do. The Stoic path of self-improvement isn't about striving for perfection, but about continuous growth and embracing who we truly are. When we talk about self-improvement from a Stoic perspective, we're not just talking about getting better at our jobs or working on our fitness. We're talking about building a character that's rooted in virtue, resilience, and wisdom. Stoicism teaches us to focus on developing our inner qualities, not on trying to please others or seeking validation. By doing so, we become more authentic, more at peace with ourselves, and ultimately more attractive in a way that goes far beyond physical appearance. Self-improvement through Stoicism involves embracing the idea that we are constantly evolving, that we can always grow, and that each day offers an opportunity to become better. This journey is about making small, consistent changes, practicing discipline, patience, kindness, and gratitude. As you work on yourself, you stop worrying about impressing others because you're more focused on impressing yourself. You begin to feel comfortable in your own skin, knowing that you are enough, and that's what draws people to you. And here's the twist. When you stop trying to be something you're not, when you stop seeking approval from others, your confidence naturally shines through. People are drawn to authenticity. It's that quiet confidence, the ability to walk into any situation and know that you're worthy. That makes you irresistible. The more you invest in your personal growth, the more naturally attractive you become, because self-improvement isn't just about getting better in the eyes of others, it's about becoming better in your own eyes first. No. 7. Stoic principles for living a life of contentment and authenticity. We all desire contentment, don't we? That sense of peace where you feel at ease with yourself, your choices, and your life. Imagine waking up each day with a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that you are living authentically and in alignment with your true values. It's a state of mind many of us crave, yet so few truly experience. In a world that constantly pushes us toward comparison and perfection, it can feel like contentment is something elusive, just out of reach. You might remember a time when you felt truly at peace. Maybe it was during a quiet moment with loved ones, or when you were simply being yourself, without the need for validation or approval. In those moments, it's as if everything just aligns, and you feel completely in tune with who you are. But for most of us, those moments can be fleeting. The pressures of society, work, relationships, and even our own expectations pull us away from that feeling of ease. The constant chase for more success, more praise, more stuff, seems to overshadow the quiet joy of being. Stoicism teaches us that contentment comes not from external achievements or possessions, but from cultivating inner peace and living according to our values. This means focusing on what's within our control and letting go of the things we can't change. Instead of seeking happiness in the next big milestone or the next material possession, we learn to appreciate the present moment and the simple pleasures of life. The Stoic principle of eudaimonia, or flourishing, teaches that true happiness comes from living in accordance with reason and virtue. It's not about acquiring more, but about understanding what truly matters to us and aligning our lives with those values. For example, instead of chasing status or wealth to prove our worth, we focus on cultivating qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These are the things that bring lasting fulfillment. They create a life of integrity, one that is aligned with who we are deep inside. Living authentically is key to this process. When we live true to ourselves, free from the pressure to conform or impress others, we experience contentment that doesn't rely on outside circumstances. It's about shedding the layers of expectations and embracing who we are, flaws and all. This is not a one-time shift. It's a daily practice of checking in with ourselves, reflecting on our values, and making choices that reflect the kind of life we truly want to live. The more we embody this Stoic approach, the more contentment we experience, and the less we are swayed by the ever-changing winds of external influence. Number 8. The art of letting go. How Stoicism teaches acceptance and freedom. Letting go. It's one of the hardest things we can do, isn't it? Whether it's letting go of a relationship that no longer serves us, a job that drains us, or even an old version of ourselves that we've outgrown. The act of releasing can feel like we're losing something precious. We hold on tight to things, ideas, people, and even expectations, because we believe they're essential to our happiness. But in reality, holding on to things that no longer serve us often leaves us feeling stuck, burdened, and trapped in cycles of dissatisfaction. Think back to a time when you tried to hold on to something, even though deep down you knew it wasn't right. Maybe it was staying in a toxic friendship or clinging to an outdated goal or expectation. Despite all the evidence pointing to the need for change, you resisted letting go. It was hard to trust that there could be something better waiting for you if you just released the grip. In those moments, letting go can feel like surrendering, like giving up. And that's where the power of Stoicism comes in. Stoic philosophy teaches us that acceptance and freedom come not from holding on to things tightly, but from releasing our attachment to outcomes and embracing the natural flow of life. Life is unpredictable, and things will inevitably change. Relationships will evolve, careers will shift, and our desires will transform. By learning to accept the impermanence of life and understanding that we don't need to control everything, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. This is the essence of the Stoic concept of ataraxia, a state of inner peace that comes from accepting the world as it is, without resistance. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation or indifference. It doesn't mean that we stop caring or that we don't strive for improvement. It means that we stop clinging to things out of fear or attachment. When we let go of the need to control everything, we open ourselves to new possibilities. We create space for growth, healing, and change. The Stoic practice of focusing on what's within our control and releasing attachment to what we cannot change allows us to face challenges with clarity, courage, and freedom. This process of letting go is an ongoing practice. It's not something that happens overnight, but with time, we learn to release the need to control and let life unfold in its own way. The more we practice this, the more freedom we gain. Freedom from fear, freedom from regret, and freedom from the pressure to hold on to things that no longer serve us. 9. Creating meaningful relationships. Based on respect, not dependency. Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where you felt like you were giving more than you were receiving? Or perhaps you've experienced the opposite, where someone seemed to rely on you too much, draining your energy and leaving you feeling unappreciated. Relationships can be complicated, especially when they're based on dependency instead of mutual respect. In those situations, it can feel like you're trapped, always trying to meet someone else's needs or seeking validation from someone else in order to feel good about yourself. Now, think back to a time when you had a relationship that felt healthy, balanced, and genuine. It wasn't based on what you could do for the other person or what they could do for you. It was built on respect, understanding, and a shared sense of values. There was a sense of ease, where you both felt free to be yourselves without fear of judgment or rejection. It's these kinds of relationships that nurture us and help us grow, but unfortunately, they're not always the norm in a world where dependency can sometimes creep in. Stoicism provides a powerful framework for creating relationships that are grounded in respect and mutual support, rather than dependency or control. The Stoic ideal is not about using others to fill our emotional voids, but about forming connections that encourage each person's growth and well-being. This kind of relationship is based on recognizing the humanity in others, seeing them as equals, and appreciating them for who they truly are, not for what they can give us or what we can get from them. At the core of this Stoic approach is the concept of philia, which means friendship and the bond of mutual respect. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius believed that relationships should be based on the idea of virtue and goodness rather than on selfish needs or desires. When we approach our relationships with this mindset, we stop relying on others to define our worth or provide our happiness. Instead, we contribute to each other's growth and well-being, creating a more fulfilling connection that's built on respect and understanding. Building relationships based on respect and not dependency requires us to set boundaries and prioritize our own well-being. It means learning to be independent, emotionally self-sufficient, and able to engage with others without losing ourselves in the process. By following Stoic principles of self-control and self-respect, we create relationships that are sustainable, supportive, and deeply fulfilling, allowing both people to thrive without feeling trapped or emotionally drained. Note 10. Living according to nature, the Stoic approach to navigating life's challenges. There's something deeply comforting about the idea of living in harmony with nature. Picture yourself walking through a forest, breathing in the fresh air, feeling the sunlight on your skin, and listening to the peaceful rhythm of life all around you. In these moments, it feels as if the world is in perfect balance, and you are simply a part of that flow. But how often do we truly live in alignment with the natural rhythms of life? How often do we fight against the current, trying to control things beyond our power, or become frustrated when life doesn't unfold exactly how we want? You might recall a time when things didn't go as planned. Maybe it was a setback at work, a challenge in a relationship, or an unexpected change that threw you off course. In those moments, it's easy to feel as though life is out of our control, like we're swimming against the tide. The natural course of events seems unpredictable, unfair, and even cruel. We feel disoriented, trying to hold on to a sense of control in a world that refuses to cooperate. This is where the Stoic concept of living according to nature comes in. Stoicism teaches us that we are not separate from nature, we are a part of it. Our thoughts, actions, and even our emotions are bound by the same universal laws that govern the world around us. To live in harmony with nature, we must accept the inherent uncertainty of life and understand that challenges, losses, and hardships are simply a part of the human experience. So, when life challenges you, when things don't go as planned, or when you feel thrown off course, remember this: you are part of nature. You are not meant to fight against the inevitable changes that life brings. Instead, you are meant to adapt, to grow, and to embrace the process. Life's challenges are not obstacles to happiness, but opportunities for strength. When we live according to nature, we unlock the resilience and peace to navigate whatever comes our way with grace and wisdom. If you've made it this far, drop a 100 in the comments below. It's a sign that you're part of the rare 0.01% who are truly committed to improving your life and learning how to face challenges with strength and resilience. You've taken the first step toward embracing Stoicism and transforming the way you approach life. If you're serious about making lasting change and unlocking a life of peace, purpose, and emotional freedom, make sure to join our community by hitting that subscribe button. By subscribing, you're not just gaining access to more valuable content, you're making a commitment to yourself to live more authentically and resiliently. So, if you're ready to take your growth to the next level and start applying Stoic principles in your everyday life, don't hesitate. Together, we can continue this journey of self-improvement, and I'm excited to see where it takes you.